and then actually getting to the end of it, it's a joyful feeling that is going to remain with me. That is joy. It sticks with you. I'm always going to remember what it felt like to cross over that finish line. I'm never going to let that go, and I can always tap into that when I need to. When it's dark, I can tap into that joy at any moment. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Wow, that's a beautiful word. I love to hear that word joy. And every time I talk to you or every time we're on panel, I hear you use that word joy. So clearly you are walking in purpose and in joy. Now,
Mhm.
Moya, I want to pivot this over to you. Now, as a tax professional, how were you able to identify early on that this was something that you wanted to do? I mean, because that is not easy. That's a lot of navigation. I mean, because people are usually, when you're dealing with people with a significant amount of money or no money, you know, numbers can be messy, but numbers often tell the truth. So, how did you pivot into this career as a tax professional?
Well, one of the things that was really interesting. So, when you talk about taxes, there's such a wide range of taxes, like versus how I would do Constance taxes would be very different. How I would do a mom that works at grocery stores taxes, like it's all very, very different. And so, it's really understanding what their goal is. And what I realized is helping that mom that's really just discovering, okay, I want more in life, but I'm not sure how to get it. Or I want to start saving, or I want to own that business. Like it allowed us to have those deeper discussions around money and change the narrative of taxes that I come once a year to how can I have this ongoing conversation with somebody that will help me reach my financial goals.
You know, it's amazing because I hear people always talk about the second definition, and that is of success is to attain fame, wealth, or social status. And it's funny because people don't realize that money doesn't usually solve problems, it usually heightens problems that you already have. So when you look and see people on TV and they have all this money, and you sit there and say, like, I don't understand how they have all this trouble when they have all this money. Well, money only heightens who you are. If you are a giving person when you were not so wealthy, you are probably going to be a giving person as a wealthy person. If you are an idiot when you don't have all the money, guess what? You're probably still going to be even more of an idiot because now you have access to a whole bunch of things that will just identify and really focus and zoom on who you are. So money will only heighten and identify, really identify who you are. So walking in purpose is so important. Now, Constance, just really quickly before we have a video that we're going to come back to, Constance, when people are identifying their purpose versus talent, are they the same thing, do you think?
Absolutely not. But I love what you said that money heightens money and alcohol, right? Money and alcohol heightens who you really are. If you're gonna be an asshole, you get that money and a little bit of alcohol in you. Oh shit, it's over.
And you can afford the good alcohol.
Everybody better watch out. That's all I got to say.
Everybody.
But in terms of, I was telling my daughter the other day, my daughter's here with me, my lovely, lovely, lovely daughter. Let me see. Oh, there she is right there. Oh, that's my baby. But my daughter is going to be very successful. What I was, and she's very talented and she has a passion and purpose. And we were kind of going through, actually last night, we're going through her purpose. What is my purpose, Mom? I'm really trying to discover that. And there are people, one thing too is the other day I was talking to the ladies in my cohort and they were like, what am I supposed to be doing? She was like, that was actually very inspiring because they're in their 40s and 50s and they still don't know. So it makes me not feel so bad about where I am. But I was telling her that hustle trumps talent any day. If you are a hustler, you could have all the talent in the world, but if you're not a hustler, if there's no hustle behind it, then you're not going to get anywhere. And then when you add purpose onto it, purpose is, when we were trying to go through how to discover your purpose, it was like, okay, what is it that you do that you would do if you made no money? What is that thing that really fulfills and satisfies you? And so when you have that, and then you can figure out how to monetize that. Ooh, that's purpose right there. Now you're in alignment with your purpose. And so that's the thing that I've discovered for myself. I love helping people in what capacity when I was in IT. Okay, and I was commuting 2 hours a day, up 2 hours back. Well, how am I motivating myself to get up and go to this job every day? Okay, I love helping people. That was my purpose in that capacity. I was helping them fix their computers. I was helping them in networking, right? I had to figure out. So my purpose is helping people in whatever capacity. Now it's helping people to build wealth. Now it's helping Black women. And when you discover your purpose, Game over.
And see, that's a lot of us, even those of you sitting here watching, you may already be in your purpose and not even realize it. It's just something that happens so naturally for you. And you just do it without even being asked to do it because it's who you are. But identifying it, that's another way of calling a niche. When you identify it, that means you're going to be able to pour more of yourself into yourself and invest in yourself, so that now when you're investing in yourself, you can give and serve on a broader scale and not just on this small level. Dr. Joe, I want to pivot this back to you. I really think I want to get your feedback on the mental capacity of identifying purpose and walking and working into it. How can one really sit down and narrow that down?
Yeah, so it can be very scary, first of all, when not knowing what your purpose is. And it can be scary sometimes knowing what it is and not really feeling like you can get there. But I always start with throwing out the perfect world question. Like if it was, you could have what you want, money wasn't a factor, and you could, do whatever you wanted to do, what would you want your life to look like? And then, we start talking about how the questions everybody hears: what would you do every day for free? What would you do every day for free if you could, if it was a possibility? And a lot of people struggle with that because they can't get past the traumas and the hurts and the triggers of feeling like they have to carry their family or, make the generations before them proud and all them other things that go into, what makes us do the things that we do for money and success. But that first part, what would you do every day for free, joyfully? I'm gonna say it. I'm intentional about that word. What would you do every day for free, joyfully? And then, like Constance said, how can you then figure out how to monetize that? Then you looking at something. Then you really on to something.
Okay, so when you, Miss Moya, when you first discovered, like, hey, this makes me happy, I can really drive people to, to be successful, to take better accountability for their money, what were the steps that you took in order to make sure that you were actually walking in purpose to help people make better money decisions?
So one of the things that I want to take a moment and really hone in on is, I know we've been talking a lot about purpose and then defining success. So one of the things that when I'm speaking with my clients is I'm asking them, like, for instance, I have so many clients that tell me, I love doing hair. I've been doing hair since I was a kid, but I don't want to do hair anymore. I want to sell t-shirts. And I'd be like, wait a second. Now, what is our goal? Is our goal to make money? Because you have a skill in doing hair, but now you want to switch it. So what I always say is purpose is important, but you still have to have a goal. If your goal is to make money, then we need to see how we can maximize on skills that you already have. And so for me, it was just really getting to know, like, I really, like Constance says, not only helping people, but help people reach their goal. So that's one of the biggest things that I definitely want to highlight, because many times you can be spinning a wheel and not really knowing your purpose. All the while, you're missing out on time that you could be earning money.
Absolutely. All right, guys, you're hearing it here first. This is Fly Nubian Money, and we are talking about what defines success for Black Americans in 2024. We have a lot more brewing in this segment, so I want you to sit tight, get right, and we'll be right back after this break.
Hey, if you're just tuning in, you are watching Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. I am Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood, and I am the proud producer of this show. So I hope that every day when you join us, you leave a little smarter than you came, because that's the point. Otherwise, why are you watching? So if you want to receive notices for when we go live, Fly Nubian Money goes live every single day. That's Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you don't know, now you know. All you have to do is text the word Queens, that's Queens, that's Queens, to 87948. That's 87948. That's Queens to 87948. Yes? If you want.
You heard her. That's Queens at 87948. Okay, welcome back to Fly Nubian Money. And again, I'm sitting here with my amazing panel. We have Constance Carter, that wealth activist. She's making it happen. We have the lovely Moya. She's going to help you know how to save some money, hide some money, and pay your taxes. I'm just kidding. And then we have Dr. Joe. He's our Dr. Joe. Dr. Joe is going to talk to you about that mental and emotional piece so that you can stabilize yourself when you acquire wealth. Now, I want to ask the panel, and I want you to all just jump in as you feel. What's the first thing that you think of when you hear a successful Black person? Because, you know, that's a term that we use in our community. When you hear the term successful Black person, you know what? I'm going to start with you, Constance. What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear that term, successful Black person?
I think of Black wealth, right? I think of somebody that's just doing it, and I think that they're happy. I think that they're whole. I think that they're mentally healthy. I just think that success is not money, because there are a lot of very unhappy, rich people. So success means to me that they're happy, that they're content, that they have that joy that Dr. Joe talks about. It's that. And then they got the money to go along with it so that they're able to live life on their own terms. They're able to get up and travel and do whatever they want to do. That's success to me.
It's funny because most people, when they're thinking about, success, they're thinking about getting the car. I lived in LA for about almost 2 years. And the only thing people were concerned about was that nice big car, the jewelry, a nice wardrobe. But nobody ever thought about getting a passport. You'd be surprised at the lot of people that don't have a passport and don't travel. And travel experience is a huge portion of wealth because you get to go outside of your community, what you're used to looking at, and see how the other world lives. You can also look at real estate. You can learn another culture. You can invest in something on a foreign land. So it is so important for us to travel, especially as a community. Dr. Joe, I want to pivot that to you. What do you think that how do you think travel can really elevate someone within the scope of wealth and being successful?
I think when people get the opportunity to see that there's more, I've observed like sometimes that can be overwhelming. That kind of makes people feel worse about themselves sometimes initially, because they're like, how much else don't I know? And that's where anxiety comes from, right? Fear of the unknown. Like you get an opportunity to set foot outside of a country and you're like, oh, so everything that I think I've known for the entirety of my life isn't actually how things are. There are places that are, more beautiful and stable, and don't really, kind of move around us or see us as the threat that we're seeing here in this country. So having the opportunity to know what it's like just to like feel as though you're not under attack or you're not in danger 24/7. I think that's one of the major things that people benefit from when they go traveling. You know what I mean? Like they just like, it really opens them up. And when you get an opportunity to see more, then yeah, again, that joy kicks in and that success kicks in because you're like, wow, I really have an opportunity to live a different type of life. So yeah.
Absolutely. For those of you that are watching that don't know, I spent 3 years working as a cruise director, and I was the first Black cruise director for this specific cruise line. I can't say who because they're not sponsoring, so I'm not going to say who, but I was the first woman of color, Black woman, to actually be a cruise director for this cruise line. And to go to these different countries, I can say that I've been to Papua New Guinea, and many people may say, where is that? But others may go, like, wow, how did you get there? There are so many different places on planet Earth to see, and it is so important to get there. Because you know what, when you travel, there's so many recording artists that you see, and they say they took time off, they took a hiatus to travel. And that's because your mind really starts to open up and you think different, you hear different because you're looking at things that are different. Constance, I know you wanted to piggyback on some of that. What is your feedback on it?
I just wanted to say access and proximity is everything.
Yes.
You got to think about people who haven't gotten out to see anything. I remember talking to different organizations where they had these Black young men who never went out of their neighborhoods, right? So the leaders of this organization took them just to the other side of town, just to a restaurant, order, right? So just having that kind of exposure outside of their immediate neighborhood was huge.
Wow.
Imagine them going to, another city, another state, or another country, what that's going to do and how that's going to open up the world for them. And I was always very intentional with my kids about giving them access and proximity to different experiences, not just taking them to Six Flags and not just, showing them how to, go into the arcade, but what about museums, take them out of the country, allow them to see different things, because that opens up their minds to the possibility that they can do anything. So now my daughter's not going to let any little nappy headed boy, take her to McDonald's and think that he's doing something.
He bought her a soda. He bought her
Like this fly first class. Like, look, some little nappy headed boy ain't gonna be able to put her on Spirit Airlines and she gonna be impressed. You know what I'm saying? So that's the kind of thing that our people need to be exposed to. And I think it's life transformational. Really, it is.
It really is. It really is. And during my time on ships, I saw quite a few people, but there was one woman. I think she had just gotten divorced from her husband, and her son was 16, and she took him on a cruise around the world. And that's how he did his junior year. And he was able to write a paper about it so he could graduate. And I mean, some of the footage, I mean, he saw the world. I saw most of the world, not all of it. So I've seen about maybe 65%. I mean, this boy spent a month in Asia. He spent 2 months in Africa. I mean, he spent a year just traveling. And I mean, that piece of education, can you imagine how his mind has opened up? And I think what happens is she had the resources to do that. But I think as Black folks, we're just afraid to make that investment. And travel is an investment because an experience. We will spend money on a $5,000 purse so we can have that experience. We will spend $2,500 on a pair of shoes so we can have that experience and a pair of Jimmy Choos. But we won't take the money and invest it in an experience that will catapult us to the next level. Moya, I want to come on over to you. As we get older, as our life circumstances change, things look different to us. How has the term success changed for you as you're in your growth and career and as a woman?
So success for the most part has always meant the same thing to me. Like success, I do equate with money. I do equate with achievement. And that's just because I believe we live in the United States of America. In the US, the measuring stick is money. Now, for everyone, that's not the same thing. Like for Joe, that could be joy, how happy someone is. I think it's different for everybody, but I just want to be able to have an experience for my children where they don't have to worry about certain things that are just a given for them. So that's really what I defined it by, is money.
That is, that is amazing. I want to, I was just thinking about something. We have a video and I hope we can get that queued up. There's a video that I want to play. And I really want to look at how society sees us and where we fit into the mold of success based upon statistics. Statistics are crucial. And if you're not doing your reading and not looking at statistics, you need to start doing that so that you can actually know where we actually fall in the guidelines of success. And I've just been told it's a slide and not a video. So let's take a look at some of these slides and see.
Okay. So look at this. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Black people, Erica. Look at that.
Yes, look at them. Now, we don't know what all of these people do, but
you know what I love most about it? You know what I love most about it is I see Black men with Black women.
Yes.
Kids.
And we see families. Did you notice that? We saw families, and that's another piece. We do have a video I want to get to, but I want to talk to you about that, Joe, as a therapist. Do you think that having a family helps us become more successful?
Oh, well, that's very situational. Like to say that, for everybody wouldn't be authentic, because some people have families and it creates pressure for them. And it is it can take away from what they view as success. Like you could be doing well, but then you're feeling like, like Moya said, hey, money is, You know, it can be viewed as success, and sometimes you need money, obviously, to take care of things. Nobody wants to see their family struggle. So if you don't have the money and you're looking at your family struggle, you might feel like a failure, even though you love what you do, and what you do impacts people. So yeah, but on the other hand, you know, family can be a driver, you know, so, you know, having a family, it might be part of what success looks like for you. That might be a completion of who you actually are, depending on, you know, what you value and what's important to you. So it's very situational. So I can't really answer that directly and say, you know, family makes you successful or unsuccessful.
Moya, you want to chime in on that?
Yes. So the slides, because I've seen this slides before, and those are the highest grossing as if they're like a product, but they're the highest earning Black families. And it's period, like across the world. So that's why we had some Africans in there, and then we have African Americans. And one thing that I did notice is that it is a family. It takes a family. Like what that means is it takes somebody to balance them out. It takes, I believe, a man to have a muse to really push him so he can develop into who he really wants to be. It takes a great woman. So I say, in order to reach the highest of heights, you do need a partner.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Erica, but
Yes.
can we see that video again? Because
Yes.
since you said that, I want to look at him a little bit more closely.
Yeah, come on, Gwen.
We got Magic Johnson,
Magic Johnson, the James.
on them. Okay, so they're African. 1.9 billion. The Rabiu, 5.9 billion.
I mean, this is just
Stewart
the
family.
Stewart family.
The Jordan family. Jordan started out with a Black woman now.
Jordan started out. But you know, what's really critical is we always say it takes a village. And, you know, looking at that, it shows me we can actually build our own village if we actually stay within the scope of who we are. We can actually create our village, because as you look at these families, as the slides went on, the families got bigger. Did you notice that?
And that's
together as a unit.
Together. And that's legacy. That is legacy. That's how you pass down. For those of you just tuning in, welcome to Fly Nubian Money. I'm your host, Erica, with this lovely panel, and we are talking about what defines success for Black Americans in 2024. We are chopping up a lot, but we do have to take a little bit of a break. And when we come back, we have a video that's going to give you, again, a little bit of insight as to what society thinks about us, wealth, and success. And we'll be right back after these messages.
You want to grow your money and not blow your money, as Constance says, check us out at flynubianmoney.com. There's all kinds of resources, programs, videos, resources. In 2024, there's no reason to be broke when there's information all around us. So get your money right. flynubianmoney.com.
Get your money right. flynubianmoney.com. That's right. Get your money right. flynubianmoney.com. Make sure you log onto the website. There's lots of resources, tips, and tools that you can start applying today to start making a difference. A little bit goes a long way. So like I said before we went to break, we do have a video, and I think we have that queued up. So let's take a look at this. And I want you to listen and pay attention and start asking yourself some questions about what you hear and what you notice when you hear what this gentleman has to say. Let's take a look.
You have about a 20% chance of becoming a millionaire. That is by having $1 million in your name if you're a white person. Yeah, it's like a 21% if you are Asians. And it's like 2-point-something% if you're Latino and 2-point-something% if you're Black. So as somebody who loves America, if you wanted to say, hey, what would be the best thing to sustain a robust economy in, you know, the American economic ecosystem, I would say it's 10x the number of Latino and Black millionaires. Like, that is the lowest hanging fruit in terms of making this country financially strong. And then there is this massive influx that could happen of creativity, innovation, entrepreneurialism that is largely untapped. And it's amongst a people group, two different people groups, the Latinos and the African Americans here in America.
Yeah, it does a little something to me too, you know, just a little bit, Because when we think back to Tulsa, Oklahoma, when we think back to Rosewood, when we think back to the economic wealth that we had in place 200, 300, 400 years ago, and then it was abruptly taken from us, burned down, and put underwater, it kind of drives you back to say, so now you want us to contribute back what we did, and now Constance, I feel like you're with me. It just kind of makes you go there like, what? So you realize you need us now. So we do carry this.
I don't think the greater majority understand how important that is, because these patriots, they don't give a damn they don't love this country. They love white supremacy. That's what they love. I've been saying this for years. America is so sick with racism that they would rather not educate Black and brown children because they don't want us on the same playing field. They don't want us to be on the same level. They don't want us to have this equity. So they would rather give us poor education, not provide us with these jobs, and they would rather bring foreigners over from other countries to do the jobs. Look, I'm from the Silicon Valley, so I know. I used to work at Cisco Systems. I was in IT, like I told you. Everybody at Cisco is Asian or Indian. You don't have, and I say that very loosely, but a great majority of the employees that are in this computer science field, STEM, are people from other countries. They have to have a green card to work over here. They're not investing in our people because they're so sick. They would rather see an Asian or Indian person come over and do the job than to see us having some type of equity. And that's what pisses me off. And what they don't know is they are cutting off their noses to spite their faces because they're sick with racism.
And
yes, Moya. So I want to say, so Constance, let's say everything that you're saying is true though. But then do we ask ourselves the question is, when's the last time we supported a Black owned business? When's the last time that we shopped?
And that's part two.
So that's what I'm saying. So I feel like, yes, everything.
It's a double-edged sword.
Exactly. But when we had integration, I feel like that also really affected us because it didn't force us for us to come in and work with and patronize each other.
Right. And I love that you said that, Moya, because that's the other part of my thinking and my belief system is number one, integration was a thing that destroyed Black Wall Street. Because when we had to stop doing business with each other, we no longer had to, we stopped. So we're not supporting our own. We're not practicing collective economics like the wealthier communities are. We're not being entrepreneurs in the same way. We don't support Black businesses on the same level as we should, as other communities do. So that all goes into that as well. So the fact that they are pushing us out of these quote unquote corporate plantations, so to speak, we need to be creating our own, number one. And number two, we need to be working with our own, and we need to be practicing all of the things that they're practicing. Remember, only 3% of CEOs in Fortune 500 companies are Black. 85% of them are white men. They're hiring people that look like them. We got to start doing the same thing, reaching back into our communities, practicing nepotism. My daughter said the other day, hey, I'm a proud Nepo baby. Yes. Do the same thing that they do for their communities and stop worrying about what they doing and start doing it for ourselves. So I'm so glad that you said that, Moya. It's right on point.
You know, it's amazing because it seems as if when we had less, we supported each other more. And now that we have more, we're supporting each other less. Dr. Joe, do you think that is a mindset that we have developed, being almost like crabs in a barrel or ignoring each other? Do you think that's a mindset, or do you think it's just we just don't know that these businesses exist?
It's generational too. You know, I mean, it's like it's out of necessity. What you're speaking of is something out of necessity. Like I told you a couple shows ago when I was talking to my great aunt, she's 85, and she was telling me again how when she was going to high school, her school was all Black, and they had the best of the best teachers, because obviously, the doctors and the lawyers and the engineers, they couldn't get jobs in those professions, so they taught. So here you are at this all Black school, learning from the most intelligent and the most capable people, and then like Moya said, integration hits, and all that disintegrates, right? We don't take care of each other kind of like the way we did because we had to. And now there's some of the same things that Constance saying. It's like we just kind of, we don't patron each other like we should, So yes, it is a mindset, but it's also a colonized mindset, right? It's part of racial trauma. Okay, because we've been told that we have to in order for us to, what our success looks like has been defined by somebody or some people who are not us. You know, you have to dress a certain way. You have to go to a certain school. You have to talk a certain way. You know, you can talk about code switching and things of that nature.
Yes, yes.
Not defined by us, right? And then what do? We then push those same colonized beliefs on each other. You know, we go to spaces that are controlled by Black folks, and then you have to dress a certain way. You have to talk a certain way. You have to show up a certain way. What you know, what you're capable of, is irrelevant. Those things don't matter. You have to meet the appearance first. You know, the perception of who you are walks about 20 feet in front of who you actually are. And I know I say that from personal experience. You know, when I was a teacher, I had to, you know, I had to switch up my code, my dressing all the time. Because if I walk into a place with my hat and my hoodie and all those things on, no, then, you know, I can't go in. I have to then find myself toot my own horn, so to speak, about my education and the things that I've accomplished. Whereas if I come in with a tie and all those things, then people just assume that I'm something more than what I am. So it is a mentality, and it's really heavy.
Yeah, you know, a friend of mine used to say they judged me before they could experience me, and we are just we really, really, really do that. You know, how do you think we can actually change that? Like, how do we begin to trust each other? Because we're not trusting each other, and then we're not trusting ourselves to actually be successful. The trust comes from within first. In order for me to trust you, I have to trust me. Moya, I'm going to pivot that to you. How do we go about trusting ourselves enough to be successful, to reach success, in order to trust someone else?
I want to build off really quick what Joe was saying, but I want that question to be answered by Constance. I that's what I want to know from Constance. But what I want to say is, I feel like what Joe is saying is so on point, because I feel like in the early 19th, 20th century, we had a decision. We had the decision of, are we going to go W.E.B. Du Bois route, where we're going to be the talented 10th, and we're going to go to college, and we're going to become educated, so therefore they accept us? Or are we going to go the Booker T. Washington route, that's saying right where we are, so we happen to be on the fields right now, put down your buckets, put in your hands, get in the soil, become masters, and make money. And then once we have money, we'll get respect. But everyone was tired. They said we worked in the fields for too long. That's not going to happen. We're going to go the educated route. And I think that's when we really, that this mindset that Joe's talking about is really prevailing. But I want Constance to ask that.
So how do we get to that place, as you as an advocate, how do we get to that place of trust? Because in order to be successful, there are people that are afraid of success and not understanding that when you're afraid of success and you hold yourself back, you hold back a whole lineage of people. You know, you're not just holding back yourself, you're holding back a whole village. So how do people get to that place where they trust themselves and know that they know that they know, I can trust myself with success, and I can trust myself to be successful?
Yeah. How do we get to that place? You know what I think? I think it's good that them rolling back some of the things that they're rolling back, with them taking away DEI, right? Because now they don't want it. They only gave us now what they're showing you is that they don't really want your black ass anyway. Okay, we don't got to do DEI. Let's take away these departments because we ain't gonna do that no more. So it forces us to step up, just like
and be great, and be great in spite of.
Yes, just like segregation forced us to do business with one another. See, we became so whitewashed that we thought. Remember when they were doing those boycotts and they were boycotting in those restaurants, and they finally ate. It was like we was boycotting over this shit. They food wasn't better; it was worse. But we subscribed to this idea that they food is better, that they shit don't stink, that their situations are much better, that we want that. And once we go back to our own and understanding that we have everything that we need inside our communities, stop allowing white supremacy to make us distrust one another. You know, even with the elections right now, when you see all these small penis minded black men who are against Kamala because of their own insecurities, but that they are just perpetuating white supremacy. We've been fed that and we eating it real good. So I just think that we got to go back to a self-sufficient mindset where we can only depend on ourselves.
Yeah, Dr. Joe, you look like, oh, no, Moya. Go ahead, Moya. I
No,
see you.
because I really want Constance. But Constance, when you were in California and you were like, I'm going to have the largest Black real estate firm here, what did you do? What were you thinking to combat that level of racism? Because you weren't in like an LA. You were in.
And that's a male, and that's a male, a white male dominated
It
field.
is. And you know, people did not want to work with me because I'm Black and I'm a woman. I was very clear. And my goal wasn't set out to be the largest Black-owned real estate firm in California. My goal was set out to serve people. My goal was set out to help people. Okay. So it was my business as an individual real estate agent is I just want to help people. The first email I sent out when I was just got my real estate license and I was like, hey, I'm a real estate agent. And somebody said, well, why did you get into that? I was like, I don't know. I just want to help people. Right. So I built my business, my individual business around helping people. And then when I opened up Catalyst, it was like, okay, I want to be able to help this community. I'm in an area where there's just a lot of, blight and depression and all those things. And then I started attracting people who have the same mindset as me. And then my client, which was the buyer and the seller, became my agents. And I started pouring into them and creating leaders, because a leader is not a boss. I'm not a boss. I'm a leader. I know how to get people to follow me because I know how to pour into and motivate people to do the best. But we have to figure out what our purpose is. And then how do we, again, monetize that, create successful businesses. And that's what I do right now too. But that's how I created Catalyst to be, to grow into what it was.
For those of you watching, I really want you to write that down, because that what you just said for me means everything. It's about service. I've walked into businesses. I know people that have businesses and they're so focused on a sale. It's the service.
I'm not a salesperson. So
yeah, it's about service. Your service will sell itself. You don't have to have schemes. You have to have a niche, but you don't have to have, a pitching point, your elevator speech. Serve, humble yourself and serve. It is the greatest thing you can do for mankind, and it proves profitable. If you're just tuning in, we are talking about what defines success for Black Americans in 2025. This is Fly Nubian Money, and I do believe we have another video, and this young man really kind of sums it up and brings it home as to how you can take care of yourself before you start looking towards obtaining wealth. Let's take a look at that video.
It's your boy G here. I'm here with 3 tips to help you guys boss up for 2024. Tip number 1, take a detox. Take a detox from social media or any vices that you have, such as marijuana, alcohol, to clear mental, and just to get an extra boost without any substance or any disruptions or any influences that's outside your realm that you don't need. Tip number 2, pick up a new skill to get some passive income or jumpstart a new career, such as coding, stock or day trading, or video editing, or something creative. Also, if you already have a skill, you can scale that and find a way to make passive income off that by education videos or just charging people for your services. And my 3rd tip is going to be show gratitude. Pray to whoever and wherever you believe in. And be thankful for everything that you have in your life, from the biggest to smallest. Be proud of yourself from the biggest to smallest accomplishments to make everything a full circle through your journey of success. So I hope you guys take them tips into consideration, because we all stuck and more lucrative mentally, spiritually, and financially.
I love those 3 tips, and I want to hear what our panel has to say about those 3 tips. But before we do that, we do have a commercial break. So sit tight, and we'll be right back with more Fly Nubian Money and what defines success for Black Americans in 2024.
Fly Nubian Money is now on Spotify. Yes. We are on Spotify. So if you can't watch us, you can listen to us. All you have to do is search Fly Nubian Money and we will appear. All of our episodes. Make sure that you leave a 5-star rating and reviews so other people that come along and are looking for a good show to watch, they'll follow us too. If you are interested in being on Fly Nubian Money, sorry, I don't have any spaces. I'm just playing. If you are interested in being a queen or a king on Fly Nubian Money for the day, please reach out to me. I'm at info@realvirtual.net. That's info@realvirtual.net. Also, if you need help with your business, go ahead and send me an email for that too. Okay. I've said enough. Now back to the show.
Text Queens at 87948. Listen, that young man in that clip before we went to commercial break was talking about 3 key things to do before, striving towards wealth, or while you're striving towards wealth and creating your success. These are the things that you need to do, and taking care of yourself was key. The first thing he said was to detox. You have no idea how fasting, cutting back on different foods, juicing, yoga, meditation, exercise, going out for a walk will really stimulate your mind as you start going into the realm of success. You really want to start purging. And I see you, Constance, nodding, and you talk about the holistic approach to wealth. And I want to pivot that to you. What are some of the things that you did when you were going into your successful phase and you realized like, I'm here? What are some of the things you started eliminating and some of the things you started increasing?
Good stuff. That's a great question. And man, that's everything. So when I went through my divorce and I moved across the country, I was thinking about, okay, well, what's the next iteration of my life? What do I want to do? What is my purpose? Where am I at? Who do I want to help? I knew that my passion was helping people, but what's my purpose in this iteration of my life? And the thing I did in 22, I moved here and I detoxed from everything. I fasted. Now, I ain't never completed a fast before or after this, okay? But I fasted the entire week. And those hunger pains, I'm telling you, my stomach was growling. I don't have a lot of self-control when it comes to food. My stomach, my stomach was growling, but that was my motivation because it was something that I had to conquer. It was so important for me to conquer that first. Conquer the idea of not getting on social media, eliminating everything. I told all my dudes that I couldn't talk to them for, at least a week. I'm just kidding. I just told everyone, like, don't call me, my mom and them, my kids. Like, I was just like, because my kids were out of town. It was during the Christmas break. It was right before the beginning of the following year. And so I just shut everything out and I focused. And then at the same time, this book called Project 369 came in the mail and I forgot I ordered it and it was perfect. So I started this on Sunday. This came around Wednesday. And what it did is it teaches you how to write everything down and visualize three times a day, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, and 1 in the evening. And then because it based it on Nikola Tesla's idea of these 3 numbers being extremely powerful. So you do it 3 times, 6 times, and 9 times. And when you do it, you meditate on it, and then you feel the feeling that it feels when you're at that place in that state. And what I did is I identified who my target market was for that following year, for whatever this next iteration was, wrote it down, was very focused on it. And then that's how I came up with the Net 7 Collective, which is what I do to pour into Black women. And that has just been extremely successful and extremely transformative in what we do. So yeah, that's what I did. And I continue to do that. I do something called the RAMP method. I rise early every morning. I do affirmations, meditation, and I pray. And that's what kind of gets me going for the day.
Woo! Y'all turn down your plate because that was a lot. And that woman's a millionaire. So I ain't going to eat for the rest of the month. I'm going to see how that work out for me. And if I don't have the Constance proof.
But look, Mac, I'm about to go visit my family and I will be flying Spirit because I'm taking all 4 of my kids. So we're going to actually be flying Spirit. So pray for us. Because he said, what's wrong with Spirit? Yeah, we fly Spirit over during the holiday.
Oh my goodness. We're going to go to a survey in a minute, but I want to, okay, so here we go. 82% defining success. 82% says about 8 in 10 Black adults say that being able to provide for their family and being happy are essential to their personal definition of success. 65% say having enough time to do things they want to do equates to success. And this last one says 56% of Blacks see having a job or career they enjoy as part of being successful. But it's that middle one that I really want to talk about. If we could put that back up there, 65% say having enough time to do the things they want to do equates to success. And it appears that a lot of us just do not have work-life balance. because sometimes we get success in an area, or we, get power in an area, and then we start taking all of our energy and pouring it into there, and we get burnt out. And it's so important that you get to experience the fruit of your labor, that you get to enjoy the money that you're making. And Dr. Joe, I want to pivot to you. How do you suggest people actually sit down and make an understanding that my time is valuable? Yes, I'm pouring time into, the things that's going to make me successful to make money, but I need to pour time into having a family, having a relationship, having time to pray, having time to meditate. How do you go about balancing time?
Yeah, I think Constance was onto something in the young man in the video. If something has that much rule or control over your life, then you probably need to go without it for a while. So I always tell people, one, no emotion is meant to be pushed away. So what are your emotions telling you? When you are in certain spaces, do you feel unhappy? Do you feel uncomfortable? Do you feel small or disrespected, whatever it is? And if that's the case, then that's probably not the space you need to be in. You probably need to make a pivot, make a change, eliminate some things, add some things to your life. This is how you define, what actually success looks like for you. Because if you don't know who you are, or listen to who you are, I should say, because people know who they are, and you're making decisions that go against, who you are and who you say you are, then you aren't going to have peace. And if you don't have peace, you cannot have success, period. Those things do not line up. They don't add up. So do not make decisions that go, I always hold this imaginary wall up for my clients. Don't make decisions that go against who you are. If you make a decision that is not in tune or in line with who you are and how you want to feel, you are sabotaging yourself intentionally.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because I grew up a single mom. My parents divorced, and my mother ended up working like 2 and 3 jobs at a time. So I saw the go, 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 go. I never saw the self-care, care. And I tend to mimic that. I tend to just go. I get up and go. I have time for this. I have time for that. But then when I get burnt out, I can't ever understand, like, why am I burnt out? It's because I never stopped and took time for myself. Moya, how do you know when you've reached your maximum point where you're like, whoa, I need to fall back and fall into the arms of myself? Because the greatest love of all is in you, for you. How do you do that?
Yeah, when it comes to working, I can go. One of the things I want to build on with what Joe said, is sometimes as Black people, just being Black, we feel uncomfortable in many spaces that we need to get comfortable in. And so I really want us to lean into that and see so when we get that feeling of I feel uncomfortable, I want us to take a moment and say, how come? What is it coming up for me? Do I feel less than? Do I feel like I don't deserve it? Like, what is that? And then unpack it. And then, as Constance was saying, come up with affirmations to reaffirm your deservingness to be in that space. So therefore you can truly own the gift that God's given you.
I love that.
Absolutely. And then also, when you're fasting, people think fasting, I want to go back to that fasting piece. Fasting is just not food. Fasting is social media. Fasting is taking a break from people. Sometimes you need to get away from the energy of certain people, and you will see how you feel outside of their space, and you can make better decisions and go, wait a minute. Oh, that's the hindrance. Oh, I'm acting like them, because you become your environment and your environment becomes you. So sometimes you really need to just fast from people, places, and things so that you can walk into what you're looking to walk into, because the change starts with you. But Moya, your self-care regimen, how do you take care of Moya? What is it, the one thing that you do when you know you've hit a brick wall and you're like, Moya's got to make time for Moya?
So
Moya right now is giving Ciara the smile. You are giving very much I'm married to Russell Wilson. The hair, the smile.
That's the energy I'm projecting. No, I'm just kidding. But
did you do your Ciara prayer?
I received that.
It just really depends on what season I'm in my life, right? So like if I go hard from January to April, then May I'm gonna pause. Like that's tax season, by the way. So if I'm going hard for tax season, then I'll pause. But during that time, then I'm gonna go.
Yeah, and you brought up something. Tax season. It is tax season. It'll be among us like real soon. Well, we got like 4 months. So we got election season and we got tax season right after that. Coincidental, huh? What are some of the things, Moya, that people can start doing now, preparing for tax season? Because people seem to wait until like the 10th of April to start preparing. What are some things that people can start doing now to be prepared for tax season?
That's a great question. So one, it depends on how much you earn. So quickly, so if you, let's say you get a majority of your money from a W-2, I would take a look at my paycheck stub and see, am I giving at least 10% to FICA? And that's if I want a larger refund. Let's say I don't want a larger refund and I do have kids. Then if you're making anywhere under 30, I'm giving specific advice, but please understand, go to moya.business if you have, like, if you want to ask nuanced questions. But because it depends on where you're at and what your goal is. Like, for instance, if somebody is going to take out a loan, then I would suggest to them that they want to show as much income as they need to. So it just depends. Like, there's no one way to answer that question because it really depends on their situation.
Okay, well, if you are just tuning in, I don't know why, because you're real late. This is Fly Nubian Money, and we're talking about what defines success for Black Americans in 2024. You know, for the last almost hour, we have been covering a wide range of things: self-care, community care, finding your niche, and, just getting to understand who you are and developing a brand and projecting yourself out there to make some money. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to kind of go around the table and get some final thoughts. And Joe, I want to start with you. What are your final thoughts, and where can people find you in the upcoming days to book an appointment and get on that virtual couch?
That's right. My final thought is very quick. I just, peace is everything. Joy is everything, but it takes work to get there. Like, I know, what I might be saying or what you might be hearing might sound crazy to you because you're living off of necessity. You're just trying to survive. Right. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with you trying to survive, but you can obtain all the things that you want and still enjoy it. You can still have peace and joy in your heart. There's a way to it, but it takes work. It's a journey. And all the things that are happening to you are really happening for you. So, take some time to understand what you're going through, process it. If you can't do it on your own, sit down with somebody who can help you get there. Like me. You can find me at a couple places, realuconsulting.com. Also look out for my new clothing line coming out. It's called Constance Mouth, where I'm a whole line of t-shirts. And the new one coming out is going to be
shit that Constance says.
Yeah, the new one coming out is going to be no nappy heads and small penises. So look for that shirt in store soon.
Have a website or social media near you.
Yeah.
Constance, what are your final thoughts? And let's talk about you endorsing the merchandise. Where can people find you, and what are your final thoughts?
Listen, wealth is really a holistic experience. It's not just about the money you make. And I really want to emphasize that. And I love what Moya said. Success is money. But success is so much more than money for me, because I don't think that we should define ourselves by money. Because what happens? I filed bankruptcy. I had a 379 credit score. If I had to define my success based upon those things, and I was making, over $250,000 a year, if I have to define myself by just money, then it really doesn't make me. Because if I lose it, then who does that make me be? So I think that we should really approach wealth from a holistic experience. It's what you do every day to get yourself going, how you operate in integrity, how many people love you, right? That's all. It sounds really good, but those all go into that success. I don't believe like Diddy is successful. I believe that he has demons. I believe that people who, if they're morally bankrupt, they're not successful people, even though they have a lot of money. So I think we should really focus on what the entire thing is in success. I believe that you have to believe, just like Moya said, have the belief that you deserve it. You know, if we are children of God, God owns a cattle on 1,000 hills. We are entitled to everything that he has. So we have to have the belief. We got to be the right person in the right place at the right time in order to receive it. We got to be ready in a position to receive it. We got to be obsessed with the things that make us successful, all those things, right? So that's getting up, how we operate, how we move, our health, our experiences, our relationships. We have to have the knowledge. We have to have the training. We have to be extremely, we have to invest in ourselves. Right? We have to be economically invested in ourselves and the things that we do so that we can grow to be able to have the substantial success that goes to legacy creation, legacy building. It's really about not just us. It's about our families. It's about our communities. It's about us as a whole. So that's what I look at success of being. If you want to work with me, I work with Black women from all over the country. It's great. It's everywhere. And I have a PhD, right? I got a public high school diploma. I don't even know why people listen to me, but I have people in my group who are doctors, lawyers, business owners, business professionals, people who work 9-to-5 jobs. They come to talk to me, and they come to learn from little old me, but I help them get their lives right. So if you're interested, I have the next cohort of the Net 7 Collective coming up in January. Book a call with me. Go to bookwithconstance.com. I also teach in alignment in conjunction with Dr. Boyce, the B1 Real Estate Mastery. Oh, and that's dope too. I'm not just showing people how to invest in real estate, but I'm teaching them how to create businesses. That's important because everybody out there trying to teach you how to be a guru, get this money, get this bag, but how to be able to protect yourself, limit your liabilities, and limit your tax liabilities, limit your personal liabilities. How do you do that as well? So I teach you all of those things. And if you're interested in that, and that's for everybody, men, women, boys, and girls, go to b1realestatemastery.com. Where else can you find me? Everywhere. I am Constance Carter right there. And it's not too late. I was just told that they are selling tickets at the door for the All Black National Convention. They sold out. And a couple of my ladies in my cohort was like, hey, I really want to come. I really want to come. And I hit Shar up, and she said, well, go ahead and sell some tickets at the door. We do have the capacity. So if you're interested in coming down to the Chi-Town, they got a few more tickets left, and I'm going to be here all weekend. I'm here right now. As you see, I'm at a hotel, but we would love to see you here. And Moya's going to be here too. Right? What about Dr. Joe? No, not this year.
Next year. I'll be there next year.
Got it. All right, bet. And Erica, we can't hear you. We can't hear you, Erica. We can't hear you, Erica. We can't hear you, Erica.
I'm sorry. I won't be here this year.
You will?
But I'll be here. No, not this year.
Okay, man.
But next year. There's always next year.
Okay, cool.
But speaking of, Moya, what are your final thoughts? And where can people find you?
Yes. First of all, I have to say, Constance, I hope everybody had a pen and pencil today because I felt like Constance gave really great information. Look at Erica has hers. I feel like if she gave us this today, I can only imagine what she's giving in her Net 7 Collective. So
listen.
That's awesome. 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 One of the things that I think is so important when we talk about success, it's really us defining it for us and not allowing society to define it for us and knowing what's going to make us happy. And more importantly, what's going to allow us to truly flourish in a place that allows us to be our best self. So that's the most important part. I am Moya.business. I also founded Juneteenth School, and what that allows us to do, I believe our children are our wealth. So on Saturdays, we have different classes. So you can sign up once everything is live and ready to go. You put in your email at juneteenthschool.com, and you'll be one of the first to get a space.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Moya. And my name is Erica Lewis. I've been your host for today. And my final thoughts are, when I started my company, my publishing company, Faith in Transition, that was actually an acronym, FIT. I was a fitness coach. I was a personal trainer. And I used that for my clients that were in the middle of the road towards their goal, and they just needed that extra push to get over the hump, to get to their weight loss goal or their fitness goal or whatever. Faith in Transition. And in the process of that, I realized we're always transitioning. Our lives are always changing. If it's not changing, that means you're consistently stagnant. So it's important that you have faith in your progress, faith in the process. It's not going to feel good going from, just living check to check to taking some of those checks and investing it into your brand and to your purpose. You may have to live from check to other check. and skip a check because you need to invest that money into something else. So it's all about having the faith that you really want to do it and having that support system, putting yourself around and surrounding yourself around great individuals who have done or are doing the things that you want to do and striving towards that goal for success for what it looks like. But please, before you start putting the money in front of everything else, before you put the cart in front of the horse, you want to make sure that you are looking at purpose. Some of the most successful people may not have it in their bank account, but they have it in legacy. A lot of teachers get paid the least amount, but I mean the legacy that they leave behind when their daughters and granddaughters and grandsons, et cetera, those behind them go into the classroom and they carry that legacy of excellence in educating and pouring into the next generation to come behind them. So that is so important because money will blow, but legacy will always grow. My name is Erica Lewis. I have been your host today. I'm also the author of Faith in Transition, My Journey to 50. And you can find me across all social medias at Miss Erica Renee. I want to thank you all for watching. It has been a joy being here with this lovely panel. One more time, Constance Carter, Wealth Advocate. We have Dr. Joe, Real You Consulting, and we have the lovely Moya, our tax professional. Thank you all for watching. Have a great time, and we'll see you soon around these internet streets. Have a good day.